Okay, the topic we are going to cover right now is Grails Plugins. So we are going to cover this set of topics. We are going to learn what is and why you want to use plugins. We are going to see the plugins that are installed by default for all Grails applications. And we are going to actually use a mail plugin as an example of installation and usage of the plugins. And then we are going to create our own simple compute plugin, and we are going to see how we can package a plugin. So what is and why plugins? First of all, Grails has a great plugin ecosystem. And in fact, Grails framework itself is basically a collection of plugins with a plugin runtime. And this plugin runtime just handles loads and configuring these plugins. So you can think of the Grails application is basically a set of plugins with this runtime. Grails ecosystem has a huge collection of third-party plugins, whether those plugins are related to security, JavaScript, database, UI, you name it. So pretty much all the functionality of a building that are needed for building an application is probably provided in a form of Grails plugin. And it's very easy to create your own plugin in case you don't find a plugin that you need. So basically writing a Grails plugin is like writing Grails application. In fact, once you create a plugin, you can just run Grails run app, and you should actually run like an application. As you will see later on, there is a very small difference between Grails application, regular Grails application, from the Grails plugin. So why you want to actually use or build plugins? So plugins provide a flexible way to enhance Grails framework. Any new functionality can be provided in a form of a plugin. It encourages reusability because once you build a plugin, you can use the plugin in many applications. It also enhances the modularity as well. So even in a single application, you might in fact actually capture the functionality that are related into a form of a plugin, so that you can actually modularize the features of the application into a set of plugins. So let's do our first exercise. Exercise 1 is basically investigating the Grails plugin ecosystem. So we go to this website, grails.org and plugins. And this is a website that collects all the that has all the plugins in Grails. So you can actually see features, featured plugins, and you can take a look at top installed plugins. And as you can see, Apache Tomcat plugin, it has 100% installation for all Grails application because it's built in. Hibernate also has a very high percentage of the installation because most of the Grails applications are using Hibernate. And Web XML config and resources plugin is also very popular because it's actually built in as a default. jQuery 82%. So these are the set of the most popular, top installed plugins. You can also see popular plugins. Spring Security Core plugin is a very popular security plugin, and Mail plugin, which we are going to actually play around later on, and recently updated and newest and supported by Spring Source. So these are the plugins that are supported by the Spring Source itself. So Quartz plugin and UI Performance plugin and Akeshi plugin. This plugin probably not be used because we now use the Spring Security Core plugin. And you can also actually find plugins based on tags. So if you see JavaScript, you can see plugins that are related to JavaScript. And Rich Client, Google Web Toolkit for Grails, and Yahoo User Interface Library. So you can find pretty much everything in a form of a plugin from this website. Okay, and testing, code coverage, functional testing, and things like that. Okay. All right, so that is exercise 1. Let me just go back to the web documentation. Okay. And let me just add this one to bookmark this page. Okay, so moving forward. Plugins installed by default. So there are several set of, there is a set of plugins that are installed by default. So every application, every Grails application is pre-configured with this set of core plugins. So if you actually go to build config.groovy files, so let's actually take a look at one example, plugins underscore app, which I just created. And if you go to config directory, and yeah, right here. And if you take a look at the build.config, we have seen build.config already many times, so you probably have seen this one already. I just wanted to show you the default set of plugins that are installed for all Grails application. So if you go down all the way down here, so there are 6 plugins that are installed for all Grails application by default. Hibernate plugin, jQuery plugin, resources plugin, Tomcat plugin, database migration plugin, and cache plugin. Now, plugin management via command line. So you can manage plugins at the command line, and also you can manage from an IDE. Plugin manager. So in order to list all the plugins that are available for any Grails application, you say Grails list plugins. And if you find more information, it also actually gives you the plugins. It gives you information about the plugins that are installed for that particular application as well. To find more detailed information about a particular plugin, then you give a name, and you can also give a version number, of course. To install a plugin, you say Grails install plugin and name and version. To uninstall it, you can say Grails uninstall plugin. Later on, as you will see, there are 2 different ways that you can install plugins. So this is actually command line, you can use to install a plugin. Okay, so later on, the 2 ways of install the plugin is actually specifying the plugin in the plugin section of the build.config file, which is preferred method. Alright, so let's do our exercise 2. So we are going to create our first application in this hands-on lab. So that's called the plugins.app, and I created on the Grails project directory, okay, which I have done already. So I have plugins, the app right here, and we are going to create the domain class. Okay. Right click, new, and domain class right here, and we'll use JPassion and student. Finish. And we are going to add 2 new properties, so name and age, and we are going to have a constraint, and then we're going to provide the toString method. So we're going to just copy this code and replace this student domain class that was just created. Okay, and we are going to save the change, and then we're going to perform generate all. So right click and new, and generate controller and view, and here we provide JPassion and student, and finish. So we created a very simple Grails application. So we already took a look on the default plugins that are installed for all Grails application. And you can also actually take a look at the plugins from Grails Plugin Manager of Eclipse. So you can take a look at the you can say plugins new, and oh, actually it's a Grails tools and Grails Plugin Manager. Okay, so you can actually search for all the plugin, and for example, Spring Security, Spring Security, and you can see there is a Spring Security core. You can see about jQuery. So there are a lot of jQuery related plugins. Okay, so you can these actually, the reason is it doesn't actually give you install is because it's probably already installed. So if you actually click this one, then you can install it. Okay, all right. So yeah, so this is basically, if you want to actually see if there are any search plugin, you can type SEARC, and then you'll find the searchable plugin. Okay. Now we are going to take a look at how we can use command line tools. So we're going to actually go to Grails Plugins, and then we go to Plugins app, and let's actually say Grails list plugins. Again, it will actually go to the website and actually find out the get the list of all the plugins that are available to your application. And at the end, it will also list the plugins that are installed for your application. So we probably see 6 plugins installed for this plugins_app. So these are 6 plugins. Okay, looks like 7 plugins that are installed for this application. And before that, you can see the list of all the plugins that are available that you can install. Okay. And yeah, so that is basically what we just did. And if you want to actually find out more the detailed information about a particular plugin, you can actually say, in this case, if you want to actually find out more information about jQuery plugin, we say Grails and plugin info, and let's say jQuery, and if I don't give the version number, then it will give information about the latest version. Okay, all right, so it gives you information about jQuery, name and author email, and dependency definitions and required repositories and things like that. Okay. Okay. And yeah, so this is another popular plugin that we can find more information about using plugin info. Okay. So that's the end of exercise 2. So let's move on to the next. Now, installation and usage of plugins. So we have actually used some plugins in previous set of topics we have covered in this course. So you already know how to install and use plugins. Okay, so there are 2 different ways you can install a plugin. Option 1, the first way of doing it is configure it in build config.groovy file on the plugins section, and option 2 is writing the command line, install plugin command line tool. Okay, and this is again preferred. Okay, so whenever you are using Grails install plugin, you probably see a message that this might be deprecated in the future. So, all right, once a plugin is downloaded, then the plugin is cached in your the home directory. In your home directory, you have .grails directory, and on the .grails directory you have a Grails version, and then underneath you have a project directory, and then each project has the projects directory, and underneath the project directory you will see your own project. In this case, maybe plugins_app, and each application has a plugins directory. Underneath, the plugin is cached. Okay, so next time you're running it or building it, it might not actually require the plugin to be downloaded from the web. Okay, And each plugin can be configured in the config.groovy file. And this is an example of a mail plugin. So mail plugin has to have a configuration of mail host and port number, username and password, and things like that. Okay, so this is an example of Gmail, the configuration information configured in config.groovy file. Okay, so let's do exercise 3. So here we are going to install a mail plugin that was created by a Spring Source, and then we are going to install the plugin to our plugins underscore app target application. Then we are going to use that plugin to send the email. Okay. All right. So you might want to search for the plugin first. So you can actually search for provides mail support as a search string, or you can find under the list of plugins. So if you search with the mail, then you will find a lot of other plugins that contains a mail, so it might be difficult to find this. So let's go to plugins directory, and as I said before, if you say just mail, it will have a lot of other plugins. So try to find either provides mail support, provides mail support, and then you'll find this mail plugin, and this was actually provided by Spring Source. You can click from the supported by Spring Source, and then you will find that mail plugin right here as well. Right, so let's take a look at the documentation. So documentation is relatively detailed, so you can take a look at the introduction, and this shows you how you can send the email. So once you got the plugin installed, you can say you can have a mail service object injected in your application in your controller, and then you can call send mail, and then you can provide a closure that contains various information regarding your mail to, from, CC, BCC, and things like that. And this is another example. In terms of configuration, you have to configure SMTP server. So in your config.groovy file, you might want to actually configure SMTP server for Gmail, port number, and username and password, and some properties like this. Okay. All right. So we take a look at the documentation, and then we are going to configure. And then we're going to actually install the plugin. Okay, so you can actually run Grails install plugin mail, or you can actually add to the build config.groovy file yourself on the plugins section, or you can use the plugin manager from Grails IDE. So here you go to, as we have seen before, Grails tools, and then go to plugin manager, and then you can install here as well. So you can actually type mail, and so this is the one that you can install it. Okay. All right, so let's actually install it here. So we're gonna just install it here. And okay, so it looks like it's installed. So we can actually find out whether it has been installed or not. So let's check the list plugins. Okay, so you can see it's been installed right here. Okay. All right, so that's what we have done, and you can take a look at your home directory, and version number of Grails. I'm using currently 2.2.3 on the projects, and plugins app on the plugins. So you should actually see mails, a plugin right now, right here, is actually installed. Okay, so next time you're actually using it, you should actually find the mail plugin right here instead of re-downloading again. Okay, and then you're going to modify plugins app to use the mail plugin. So here we are going to change the config.groovy file, okay, and to configure Gmail server, okay. So I have already done that. So let's take a look at the file, config groovy file, okay. And so this is where things has been configured, okay. And I have actually configured my password, so that's the reason I'm not actually showing the complete picture of it. And then we are going to go to the controller, student controller, and that should have this method. So I have added send mail method, and send mail contains the send mail. It actually has it does call the send mail and you can actually see it does actually have a controller, the closure object that contains information about the mail to and subject and the text. Okay, all right, so that is done. So everything is done at this point, so we are going to run the application. Okay, so let's run the application. And it should actually return mail has been sent. And in my case, I should be able to check my mail from my mail Gmail account. Okay, so let's run the application. And we should be able to click this one. Mail has been sent. Okay, so if I actually see my mail, well, let's assume that has been sent, okay, because I don't want to actually expose my email to you guys. All right, so that is actually the mail plugin. So let's move on to the next. Now we're going to actually create our own plugin. So plugin structure is the same as regular Grails application. So it does have its own Grails app directory. In fact, you should be able to run, once you create the Grails plugin, you should be able to run Grails run app, okay? Just like it's a Grails application. So what it means is that plugin has its own controllers, domain classes, and services, and tag libraries, and everything that typical Grails application should have, okay? The only difference between Grails plugin from Grails application is that Grails plugin has an extra file called the plugin descriptor in the root of the project, and that is named as a plugin name, and then Grails plugin.groovy file. So this is the file. So plugin descriptor file maintains a plugin metadata. For example, plugin version, Grails version it supports, and dependencies, and also title, author email, description, documentation, URL. So typical information that you find when you actually say the Grails plugin info and the name of the plugin. So that information is coming from the plugin meta file, descriptor file. You can also do some advanced the customization for the plugins, but we're not going to actually cover those as advanced customization in this presentation. So we're going to mostly actually build a very simple plugin. Okay, so these are the steps that we are going to follow for creating a plugin. So we're going to create the plugin project. So we are going to say Grails create plugin and give a plugin name. And then you can update the plugin descriptor file, again providing author email and things like that. And then you can add plugin specific artifacts. So you can add anything you want to the plugin. So you can add a new controller, new service, new tech library, new views, new templates and scripts, whatever you want to actually capture inside that plugin. Okay. So this is the reason I say in the beginning of the presentation that plugin is a great way of modularizing your application. So if your application has a group of functionality, each group of functionality and each group of functionality could be captured in a form of plugin. And then you can package the plugin. So creating a packaging a plugin, basically creating a zip file. All right, so plugin development convenience. Typically, when you develop a plugin, what you want to do is that you want to actually exercise the functionality of that plugin with the target application. So you keep making changes in your plugin and then see whether that works or not with your target application. So instead of actually going through the cycle of creating a plugin zip file and then install it and then try it every time you make a change, Grails plugin development environment provides the convenience. So when you specify the name of, the location of your plugin with Grails plugin location and then name of the plugin like this, it will actually get the plugin plugin from this location without you actually manually installing it first. Okay. Another way of doing things is you can actually have your plugin in the same directory of your target application, and in that case you can specify again Grails plugin location and then name of the plugin. Then you say compute simple. Okay, so this, if you configure this in your target application and then specify the plugin location like this, then you can actually test your plugin without the installation. Okay, without manual installation. So it's a great way to test and develop and test your plugins over and over. Every time you make a change, it will be automatically picked up by the application. Okay, so that's what we're going to actually try in the hands-on lab. All right, so let's do exercise 4. So we are going to create the Grails plugin project, and then we are going to name it as a compute simple. Okay, and we want to create the compute simple plugin in the same directory that our target application is located. So we created our target application plugins _ app under Grails project directory. So we want to take advantage of that plugin development environment in which you have to have those the plugins and the target applications in the same directory, in this case on the Grails project. Okay. All right, then we are going to study and modify the Grails descriptor file. So let's actually create the plugin project first. Okay, so new file, new, and Grails plugin project, and we are going to name it as a compute simple. So this compute simple will contain a very simple compute logic in controller, and we want to create in the same directory, so it has to be Grails project, and then you have to specify the name of the project, compute simple. Okay, and finish. And then we are going to study and modify the plugin descriptor file. So here plugin descriptor file is in the root. So in this case, it should be named as compute simple, name of the plugin, and Grails plugin.groovy file. Okay, so basically we are going to just give a name. So title of the plugin, author, and author's email, and description. Okay, so description is using the multi-line text. Okay, so that's the only thing that we are going to change. Okay, so we have a compute simple, and it should have this compute simple plugin meta file. Okay, so only thing that we want to change is basically this. So I'm going to just copy these 4 lines of code, and I will replace this. Okay, and then we save. Okay, so next we are going to add compute service to the compute service to the compute simple plugin. So we're going to create a new service. So these are the new functionality that we are adding to this plugin. So we're going to actually add the 2 things in this hands-on lab. So first we're going to add a new service, and later on we're going to add a new controller. Okay, so we're going to add the service, and we're going to name it as comexample.compute. This is the name of the service. Okay, and basically in this service we are going to add these two new methods, add and subtract. Okay, so let's create the service first. So this is the compute simple service, and new, and we are going to create a service. Okay, yeah, right here, service, and the name of the service is going to be JPassion and compute. Okay, I just want to make sure we give the correct name. Okay, so examples, okay, so we're going to use the different package, example and compute. Okay, example compute, and finish. Okay, and then we are going to add these two new methods to the service. Very simple add and subtract method. Okay, so we add these two methods. All right, and then this is the configuration that you have to set in your target application. So basically, I'm gonna go to the plugins app. Okay, so here we are gonna go to plugins app. So this is the target application, and build config file. We are going to so here we are going to add this line. So basically we are indicating the location of the compute plugin this target application is going to use. Okay, so this target application will pick up this compute plugin automatically from the location, project location, okay, which is actually in the, in the same directory. So that's the reason we say / compute simple. Okay, all right, so we save the change. Okay, so we have done that, and yeah, so this is another way that you can do. Okay, so you can provide a full location like this. Okay, but I found this is not really not working well for me. So let's actually stick with this scheme. Okay. All right, now we are going to modify the plugins app target application to use compute simple plugin. So compute simple plugin now provides a compute service object. So here we are going to go to student controller. Student controller, and we are going to have these two new method, add numbers and subtract numbers, using compute service object that is provided by the plugin. Okay, so I'm going to add it right here. Okay. Okay, so we have added. Okay, now. Okay, so service object is added. Now let's actually try to see whether we can actually add these two numbers. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so looks like we have not. Okay, so this is the result. The previous error is because I haven't restarted the application. So I have to restart the application, and then if you click it, it actually works. Okay. All right, so you can tell right now that compute service object that is provided the plugin actually works. Now if I try to subtract, okay, so I'm subtracting 5 from 20. So if I click this one, it results from 25. So that worked as well. So if I subtract 3, then it should actually return 17. Okay. All right, so that seems to be working very well. Okay. So we just verify that the a service that has been added to the plugin is being used in the target application. Now we are going to add a new controller to the plugin. So we are going to go to the Compute Simple plugin. Then we're going to add a new controller, and we're going to add it as a com.jpassion hello. And this one contains a very simple say hello method. Okay, so let's create the go to Compute Simple plugin, and then we are going to add a controller. And we're going to add it as com JPassion and hello. So this is the name of the plugin. I'm sorry, the controller. And then we are going to add a very simple say hello method. It just returns the name of the user, name of the person that is being sent from the client. Okay. So here we are going to add new method to the plugin, hello plugin, a hello controller plugin in the hello controller to the Compute Simple plugin. Okay, and we save the change. Okay, now we're going to actually see whether I can use it right away. So I'm going to actually go to this link. I'm sending name Mary. Okay, okay, so that works fine. So if I send Sang, and I return Sang. Okay, so new controller that has been added to the plugin is being used by the target application right away. Okay, the last one is actually adding new tag live to the Compute Simple plugin. So here we are going to actually go to tag live, and we are going to name it as a com.example.simple tag live. And we are going to add a very simple tag live that we have learned before. Okay, so again, go to plugin, new, and tag live, and we are going to call it com example. I forgot what the name that we want to give. Simple. Okay. Okay. All right, so we created a new tag live, and here we are going to add the emotion tag. Okay, so we're going to just copy this tag and add it here. Okay, and we save the change, and now we are going to use this newly added tag in our target application plugins app. So we are going to change main.jsp file to use the emotion tag that we have just added to the plugin. Okay, so right after under we're going to add that. So we're going to go to the main.jsp page. Yeah, so basically we are actually changing the layout file in the target application. So we go to views, go to layout, main.jsp, and right after body opening tag, we're going to just use this tag. Okay, so every page in the target application should have this emotional tag. Okay, all right, so let's actually run any of that application. We'll just click anything. Okay, so how about this? Oh, yeah, this is just rendering. So, what we want to do is we are going to just use, we want to actually use, we want to, what is the link that is being used? Oh, so we can just go to the, so we can just go to the root of the application. Okay, so you can see this emotional tag is actually being used right here. So, okay, and if you go to hello controller, yeah, so we don't have actually the index HTML file. That's why I think. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, this is from the plugin. If I go to student, then you should see the same thing in the page. Okay. All right. So let's go to our last topic. So how to package a plugin. So suppose if you make a plugin and you want to actually give that plugin to someone else. Okay. So you can package a plugin into a zip file, and you can give that zip file to someone else. That someone else can actually have that plugin zip file in their local file system, and they can actually do plugin installation. Or you can publish your plugin to Grails Plugin. Of course, you should have actually an account in the Grails Plugin website, and once you have the user account, you can actually publish it. So creating a plugin is pretty simple. All you have to say is Grails package plugin, and it will create a zip file in the top directory. Okay. All right. So let's start exercise 5. So basically, we're gonna just run Grails package plugin. Okay. And then you'll actually see the zip file is actually created. Okay. And you can now give that zip file to whoever wants to use your plugin. Okay, so here we say we're gonna actually say package plugin. Okay. And so yeah, plugin packaged into Grails compute simple o1.zip file. So you should actually see that zip file in the root directory right here. Okay, and this is the zip file you can publish. You can actually give to someone else. Okay. All right. So that is the end of the this presentation. Thank you.